Welcome to Tech Talk with WSU Tech, where we dive into all things WSU Tech and highlight the voices within our college community. I'm Mandy Fouse, and today we have the honor of chatting with Rob Gibson. Rob, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
It's great.
We're so excited to have you on Tech Talk. So before we kick into all of these different things, because there's so much that we can talk about with you, let's first introduce yourself and tell everyone how you serve the mission of the college.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mandy, for inviting me to this podcast. I'm Robert Gibson. I'm the Dean of our Instructional Technology and Academic Support. We call that ITAS for short, kind of a tease on iPads and iPads and that sort of thing.
Love it.
But we provide kind of a variety of different services. We're probably going to get into a little bit more in this conversation. But the mission of the college is front and center on our desktops every day. We look at it every day when we log in to provide a quality education and for workforce development and leadership in this area and economic impact. So I would like to think that our services definitely support that mission. We provide, I think, a very high quality experience for our students. We go to great pains to make sure that our courses are of the highest quality possible. They're research informed. We design based upon templates that have academic standards and rigor. We work very closely with our accreditation and accessibility departments to ensure that they're very high quality and can meet learner needs. So I take great pride in the work that we're doing in that area. So I definitely hope that we are fulfilling that mission.
Yes, definitely. So tell me again, ITAS, Instructional Technology and Support?
Academic Support.
And Academic Support. ITAS. Is it lower I, capital T?
Well, you can do it that way if you want to.
It depends who you're talking to, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so explain again or expand on what those services look like in ITAS. How are you providing academic support?
Oh, that's a great question. So my particular team has two different facets. So we have one team that are specifically what are called instructional designers. And so those folks work very closely. They interface very closely with the faculty in designing courses and bringing new courses online or revamping courses, that sort of thing. An element of that is an area called the Teaching and Learning Center. And so we do professional development, upskilling, reskilling, those types of things. Those are all sort of important aspects that sort of fit with one another very closely. We also have another element of our team, which is at the South Campus. They do video production as part of their portfolio. They support our learning management system, Canvas. We also have a person that's responsible for all of the Mike Rowe Works curriculum and content. So we work with high schools across the country and support all of those efforts as well. Mm-hmm. So we're pretty multifaceted. We've got a lot of that, and that's just sort of hitting the highlights. We have a lot of different things we're working on, but those are sort of like the main parts of what we do.
Yeah. So when somebody is coming to ITAS, what do those conversations look like? I know it's going to be very nuanced based on if it's faculty or staff or students. Like, what does that experience look like?
Well, if it's faculty, typically we will, if it's a new faculty who's just sort of onboarding into the college, we have a process for introducing them to our processes. We work with not only a lot of traditional full-time faculty, but we have a lot of adjuncts and we have a lot of dual credit faculty as well. So we've got a real broad spectrum of people that we work with. So the conversations typically go something like this. They will contact us through one of our outlets. We will start to do an onboarding process with them, introduce them to our course design methodology. We have a cadence for how we design and develop courses, those types of things. So we go through and stepwise through those entire processes and sequences to get that course onboarded in a particular point in time. We also want to make sure that the faculty are prepared to teach because a lot of them come from industry, have not had the academic preparation.
Okay.
So we try and get them reskilled and upskilled in those areas that we need. The team at the South provides sort of a support envelope for the instructional design team. So, for example, if the instructional design team needs video, They will reach out to the South team and say, look, I need a video for a particular course or to demonstrate some element. And so they will engage those services to help provide that additional support. So they kind of work in tandem with one another.
Yeah. So educate me on this. Like, how is this different than like how other colleges prepare faculty for coming, or are there different ways that how we operate versus, experience with other colleges, or do you know that? Like, what does that look like?
Well, yeah, I've come from a traditional college.
Okay.
My background is mostly in traditional education. It's not terribly different.
Okay.
I will say this that I think is a great benefit or a boon to the college is that they take great pride in making sure that faculty are introduced to our system correctly. We have processes I mentioned in place to kind of get them upskilled and reskilled appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of colleges, traditional colleges and universities don't necessarily have the infrastructure in place to be able to introduce people, to traditional faculty into their technology infrastructure quite as well as we do it here. I think that we do a much better job of that.
Yeah.
In particular, because we have so many transient faculty, adjuncts, and dual credit, it requires, I think, some skill and adeptness at being able to get those folks into our system quickly to be able to get them on-ramped. So we have a couple of courses that we use for introducing them to our technology. One of them is sort of the basics of technology, things that they're going to need to be able to communicate and operate in our environment. Another one is the tools that they're going to be using for teaching and learning.
Very cool. It's like orientation on steroids.
It is.
Right?
It's exactly what it is. Yeah. As a matter of fact, it is.
So how does your team and the ITAS team, how do you stay on top of all of these changing technologies and trends and changing in education to help our faculty get the things they need?
Well, and that's a good question. It's a very, very hard thing to stay on top of.
Right.
It is. Things are changing, particularly in the AI world, are changing so quickly that it's hard to stay on top of all that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we do is that we have some internal sorts of communication and meetings that we do among our team to be able to stay on top of this, because we have to try and stay one step ahead of our faculty and staff and students. So, for example, we have weekly meetings with our team where we will introduce some of the newest advances or technologies or things which are coming out that we have seen or come across, and we'll share that among the team, try and educate one another on that particular technology. We do a lot of that sort of internal communication, internal education, and then we will make selections based upon that, and then provide more communication to the community about things to be looking out for in terms of new introductions, new technologies. Yeah. I'll give you an example. For example, our learning management system, Canvas, comes out with an update every 3 weeks. And
Fun.
So we try and stay up with that. So we will try and stay abreast of those particular changes. We will communicate that internally, and we will determine whether or not we want to introduce some of those changes to our faculty and staff and students. So just enough ahead that we can kind of keep our heads above water.
Yeah. So you mentioned AI. AI has been a disruptor across multiple industries. Mm-hmm. How are you seeing AI disrupting what we're doing in education, what, the service that you all provide for our faculty and for?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a difficult, I saw just an interesting graphic. It was sort of a funny graphic about somebody with red eyes trying to keep up with all the AI news,
Oh, yeah.
So it's really, really super hard to keep up with AI because it's changing so fast. Just in the past week, there's been 3 or 4 new announcements just in the past week. So to the degree possible, we educate one another within the ITAS team in terms of things that are happening in this space. We can't adopt all of them. We can't, use all of them. We can't even stay, afoot of all of them. But we are trying to the degree possible to figure out which types of things. We have a vetting mechanism, some tools that we engage to determine which tools are the best ones to pursue, which ones are not. And we really have to sort of focus on things which we think are going to have the most impact, the most return on investment. Not everything we see is something we want to pursue. We have to do cost benefit analysis, those types of things. But we try and stay. We educate one another is the best way to put it.
What are you excited about with all these changes? Because while there's so many challenges with the implementation of AI and changing technology, what are you seeing that you're excited about that's going to change things?
Well, there's several things I think that we need to kind of keep an eye on. What we're starting to see now is more of a AI is starting to be introduced into the teaching and learning platforms.
Okay.
So we're seeing it with the Canvas LMS is starting to have that type of technology built into it.
Mm-hmm.
So the ability to automatically create units, lessons, quizzes, learning objectives, all those types of things are actually going to be turnkey with this product. So those are some exciting advances. At the same time, there's also some things which make me a bit nervous. Academic integrity is one of the things that we're kind of keeping an eye on because we're worried about cheating and plagiarism and those types of things. So we are trying to make sure that this is a measured response because we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. We want to educate the faculty on the appropriate ways to use artificial intelligence so that they're not caught in a situation where their students may be using it maybe inappropriately, and they're not quite sure how to respond. They're not quite sure if the student is using the technology or not. Those are those questions which kind of come up. Yeah. So we're trying to keep a very close eye on ways that that we can not let that get out of control.
Right. Yeah, I think everyone's kind of struggling with that as there's been very limited guardrails set up and very limited, rules and regulations right now, even from a federal level, on how we use AI in our society. So I think it will be interesting to see how that plays out. And I know we're still kind of at the beginning of that. So I'm excited to see how it makes everyone's lives easier, but also how we protect integrity and all of those things. So kind of shifting gears, let's talk, we're getting real nerdy we're talking about AI. Now let's talk about VR, let's talk about AR, let's talk about those digital resources and the things that you guys are doing to help improve hands-on learning.
Absolutely. So we were fortunate. We received a Perkins grant about a year ago, which helped us to sort of supercharge one of our laboratories. We call it the Collaboration Laboratory, or CoLab, which is located at the South Campus. And with that extra money, that grant, we were able to enhance the facilities. We have a podcast facility, innovation studio. We have a self-serve video facility. The interesting twist about the video facility, what's worth mentioning, is that the idea, I've had a video studio in the past, but this one kind of came to me through something I saw over at WSU.
Okay.
The new Woolsey Hall, which is the new business school, the brand new building. I was touring it one day, and up on the 4th floor in a kind of a remote corner is this self-serve video studio that they'd put in. And I knew the person that put it in, so I talked to him, and he gave me the skinny on how that was done. So we got all of his blueprints, and we developed something very, very similar to that. Those two studios are designed to be self-serve so that people can kind of come in and turnkey use them without too much technical oversight. You can be upskilled on it in about 10 minutes, so it's real simple to use. We also have AR, VR. We have different types of headsets, Meta and Apple, the new Vision Pros, those types of things. We also have a light board. It's a glass board that's designed for recording and writing on glass. So you basically stand behind a piece of transparent glass and you can write and show images. You can actually transmit images on top of the glass. It's difficult to describe without seeing.
Who's using things like that?
Oh, we have a lot of faculty that are using, particularly up at AMT, are using that as well. So the manufacturing people. So nurses as well. We also support 4 advanced classrooms across the campuses. So those are called high-flex classrooms. And then we're pretty excited with a new Perkins grant that we just got.
Yay.
We're going to be getting a what's called a quiet cube. It's a kind of a small private soundproof booth that's going to be going in at the NCAT campus. So
Okay.
people could go in and actually do podcasting inside of the booth. Similar to the studio, but
Yeah.
it's actually going to be located in a hallway. So it's going to be very, very convenient for people. So we're excited about that as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So a quiet cube. So it'll be used for podcasting. Are there any other
Yeah,
uses
anything.
that we see?
You can use it for anything. You
Crying.
can actually use it
I'm
for
just kidding.
testing crying,
No.
screaming.
Screaming. Perfect. Love it. That's going to be the most popular room.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. No, everything's great. So that's really cool. So it's going to go at NCAT. And then with the collab, like, you're talking about all of these technologies and things. Who are the people that you see most utilizing this, or even who are the people that you see should be utilizing these resources?
Well, it's mostly used by faculty, but we
Okay.
do have quite a few students that come in. For example, one of our instructors, Chrissy Buck, brings her students in there for doing digital marketing sorts of
Yes.
things. So she uses it quite a bit. We're excited to announce that we have a new scholarship for students to be able to use the space. So if they use a certain number of hours, they are actually eligible for a scholarship for using that. So we're pretty excited about that. Details are still forthcoming. We've just done a
Love it.
very preliminary, but we're excited about that. But we really want students to be able to use it. A
Mhm.
lot of the technology that we have in that was designed specifically for students at the South location. So we want them to take advantage of that.
Wow, that's really, really cool that
Yeah.
now these students, they're not only going to get these resources, but now they can get money for using it.
They could get a small scholarship, a small
Scholarships.
stipend. Yep.
Very, very awesome. So what's next? What's happening?
What's
What's next?
next?
What's next in your world?
Well, well, I let the cat out of the bag a little bit with the Quiet Cube. We're that's coming online.
And when
here
is that
pretty
coming
soon.
online?
We're going to be actually getting that probably sometime this spring.
This
so
spring,
you'll see
okay.
that. Yep. Yeah. So you'll be seeing that up here in the NCAT building. So the G building. So we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Well, we're always keeping an eye toward what's happening with our in services that we have every year. We are always trying to attract a keynote speaker presenter, which we think is going to be very timely for some of the issues that the faculty are facing.
Okay.
One of the folks that we're going to be getting in, I think, for one of our conferences coming up is going to be a person who's an academic integrity expert from K-State. So she's going to be coming in and speaking about issues that faculty deal with regard to what we talked about earlier, which is AI and cheating and all of those types of things as well. So AI is part of the strategic plan of the college. It's actually written into the strategic plan.
Yes.
So we think that this is going to be an important part of our conversation going forward. How ITAS supports that is going to be very, very critical. What types of services we provide and introduce, the service layer, upskilling faculty to address this, because this is going to have a profound impact on higher education, I predict. I think in ways that we can't quite anticipate just yet. So we'll see where this goes, but we want to try and stay ahead of it just a little bit.
Yeah, I've heard AI will impact industries in the way that the assembly line impacted manufacturing.
That's
And
probably true.
I think when you think of it on that scale, it's so, like thinking about how that completely changed the game in manufacturing. I think we're going to see that in education. We're going to see that definitely in communications and in marketing. We're already seeing the impact and how that's changing the way that we operate. So
Yep, for
that's
sure.
awesome. So how can we support you? The people that are listening today, we've got staff, faculty, we've got people in the community. How can we support the work that is happening with ITAS, with the collab, with all the things you're doing?
Well, I think just getting the word out is really important. This podcast, I think, is an important conduit for us. We're very excited about that. And again, thank you for the invitation to come and talk to you today.
Of course.
Exposure to the types of services, the types of things that we offer. We've introduced a Substack, a couple of Substacks that we're doing on a monthly basis to try and get the word out. Because I think that we're a very well-kept secret
Yes.
on campus. And so we're trying to make sure that we inform the community on the types of services that we provide. Although a lot of it's just sort of basic things, we troubleshoot problems and all of that kind of stuff. We're far more than just, being a help desk. We actually do quite a bit of things. We can really, I think, and help our faculty to improve the quality of courses that they're delivering. So I think just getting the word out is a very important thing.
Well, I think you're right in saying that you are the best kept secret. We hear ITAS, but unless you've really sat down and talked with someone about what it is that you do and understand everything and how that lends to the success of the college, the success of students, and of the faculty. I really hope that those listening today understand what value you all are bringing to our students' lives and our faculty's lives and our staff's lives.
That's
so
great.
Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for sharing your stories. And thank you all for tuning in to Tech Talk with WSU Tech. Make sure that you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And until next time, stay connected and keep exploring the incredible work happening here at WSU Tech.